Hey, this is Corey from Woodcraft, and in today's video we're going to be talking about weather. Now, when you're planning your trip and you're at home, it's really easy to check the 5-day forecast and kind of predict what to look forward to when you're at camp and what the conditions of the weather are going to do. But when you're actually at camp, when you're actually in the mix of it, when I go camping, I don't have cell phone reception most of the time, meaning that I have no way of checking the 5-day forecast. I have no way of keeping up with what the weather conditions are at the moment or what they're going to be. And so there's some sayings that I know that help me predict the weather and help me prepare for things that might happen. The two that I'm very familiar with is pink sky at night, sailor's delight; pink sky at morning, sailors take warning. And then the other one is when birds fly low, a storm's about to blow. Okay, and so those are two things that I kind of use in conjunction with one another. If there's a pink sky in the morning and the birds are flying low, I usually cover up some of my firewood so that if it does rain, I can keep it dry. I usually get my rain jacket ready just so I can grab it real quick if it does decide to rain. And so what I have here is I did some research and I found this PDF, which I'll leave a link to in the description box down below. And even though the sayings are a little different than how I say them, I like this format because in the red it says what the saying is, and then in black it explains why that saying is accurate. And so, for instance, this one, I say, when birds fly low, a storm's about to blow. Well, according to this, it's if birds fly low, expect rain and a blow, which is a little bit different but means the same thing. And then what is taking place during this is when the air pressure is high, it is easier for birds to fly at a higher altitude. If the air pressure is low, indicating bad weather, birds can't fly as high because the air is less dense. And so I always knew the saying. I always knew that when the birds are flying lower, it meant bad weather, but I didn't really understand why. I just knew the saying from when I was younger. And so they basically are barometric pressure. And so the lower they fly, the lower the air pressure. And so that's good to know. The other one, so the way that I remember this one is pink sky at night, sailor's delight; pink sky in morning, sailors take warning. The way it's written here is red sky in morning, sailors give warning; red sky at night, sailor's delight, which again is the same thing, I just say it a little different. And this one's really interesting because what's happening here is again, I knew the saying, I just didn't know exactly what it was representing. And what's happening is the storm clouds and the everything, when the sun shines through that bad weather, it gives off a pink or a red hue. And so in the North America, in the United States and North America, weather typically runs east to west. All right. And so when the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, if it's rising and you see that pink or red sky, it's shining through the rain clouds and the bad weather, meaning that it's coming your way. It's in the east and it's working its way to the west. Now, the time frame on that, I really don't know, but it's still nice to prepare. Like, I live in Minnesota, and so if I see a pink sky, I don't know if I'm gonna get rained on today and California is gonna get rained on tomorrow, or if I'm gonna get rained on during the day in California at night, or if I have a couple days and they have a week. I don't know the time frame, but when you use these things together, you wake up in the morning and you see a pink sky, the birds are flying really low, you kind of get an idea that, hey, it's probably gonna rain, right? And so I really enjoy these sayings. There's a couple more that I'd like to share with you guys. Again, you can download the PDF and have all of these, but there are some that I find real camp specific that I think will help us. The next one is about dew. So when the dew is on the grass, rain will never come to pass. When grass is dry at morning light, look for rain before the night. And so the science behind this one is if there's no dew on the grass, it means the sky is cloudy or that a breeze is strong both mean rain or bad weather. And so whatever's preventing that dew from forming is probably equivalent to whatever the bad weather is, whether it's wind or rain or clouds. And so that's another thing. If you wake up in the morning and the grass is dry, there's no dew, it's either really hot and it couldn't form, or the strong breeze and the clouds can make that as well. Another one, if smoke hovers low near the ground, it is likely to rain. And so when I saw this, I assumed it was just like the birds and it was based on the pressure, the air pressure. But actually, smoke picks up moisture. So it picks up all the moisture in the air. And so when there's low humidity, the smoke will go straight up because it's lighter than the air. And so it's super light, and so it floats away and dissipates. But if it's really humid outside and it collects that moisture, it becomes too heavy to rise up, and so it stays low to the ground because of that, because it's heavier, and also it's harder to dissipate. So you have that smoke that's low and sticks around for a really long time. It's because it's picking up the humidity in the air. And so high humid means you're gonna have a really muggy day, or it means that it might rain. And so I thought that was really interesting. So when you're sitting around your campfire, pay attention to that smoke. The other one is, if clouds move against the wind, rain will follow. So like right now the wind is blowing this way. If the clouds were going that way, it means a cold front is coming through. And so a cold front means cold weather, but it could also mean rain depending on the conditions of everything else. And so that's something to look for as well. You want to make sure that if you see the wind blowing one way and the clouds going the other, maybe you want to get your poofy jack ready, maybe you want to get your sweatshirt ready, and prepare for cold weather and maybe even rain. Another one that I want to share with you is, the higher the clouds, the better the weather. So this one actually is in conjunction with the smoke and the birds. It kind of puts them together, because higher clouds indicate both dryness of air and higher atmospheric pressure. Both these qualities are present with fair weather. So it kind of mixes the bird saying and the smoke saying together. And so just by being at camp, okay, and doing the things that we already do, we can watch the birds and get air pressure. We can study air pressure based on how high or low the birds are flying. We can base humidity off the smoke of our fire. You can judge temperature by the crickets. Crickets, if you don't know, they're very accurate at predicting the weather or telling you what the weather is. You just count their chirps for 14 seconds and then you add 40 to however many chirps that was, and then that's the degrees in Fahrenheit. And so if you live in the United States, you can just add 40 and have the degrees of wherever that cricket is. That's something that a lot of people get confused about too. If you're in a valley and they're up on the ridge, it might be warmer where they are than you are, and they're chirping for the temperature the crickets are in, not the temperature you are in. And so make sure you keep that in mind too. Depending on how far away they are, depending on where you're hearing them from, it's not going to be 100% accurate to where you are, but it's going to be very, very accurate to where they are. But you have a temperature, you have a weather station at camp with you, and you didn't even have to bring anything. You just had to be able to light a fire, and now you're able to predict temperature, humidity, air pressure. You're able to consider if it's going to rain or storm, if it's going to be hot or humid. And so I really like these sayings. A long time ago, before internet and five-day forecasts, there was people that had knowledge, and these sayings helped them remember the knowledge they had. They help remember the way that things are. And I really feel like this is something that's being forgotten. These people were able to stay comfortable because of these sayings, and if our luxuries, if our modern technology were to ever go away, we too could use this knowledge to stay just as comfortable as we are now. So I really think that this is very important information to share. So share it so that this information doesn't get forgotten. And then make sure to leave a comment down below. Is there any folklore that you've heard when you were younger, or that you've heard over time? Leave it in the comment section, even if it's not weather related. It's all these little things that help us remember the way things used to be, that can help us maintain our comfort even if modern technologies fail. So share this video to help keep this stuff alive, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.